Hey guys, and what's going on? I hope everybody's doing well. Welcome back to the TXR Podcast, and this is episode number 112. I'm your host, Invader, and boy, do we have a heck of a lot to talk about. Some absolutely huge announcements at the Game Awards a few days ago. Also, a bunch of other big industry news. But hey, we'll get into all that in a little bit. First, let me introduce the voices of the show. Jeremy, how's it going? Love it back there.
Yes, sir, buddy. How you doing? How we doing, guys?
Doing good. I'm loving the green in the background. You got the emerald going, the Forza.
Yeah.
Nice.
I gotta represent this week, right, Tim?
Yeah, Mr. Xbox. We call you that.
Definitely, Mr. Xbox now. He has seen the light, the green light. Shock, my man. Hey, I'm sure you'll have a lot to say tonight. How you been?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah, it was some cool announcements in the Game Awards. And I've just been running through my second Metroid Prime game, the Echoes. So just trying to do my retro backlog.
That's another great game.
Nice. Oh, talking about Metroid. Oh, I'm waiting for the next one to come. All right, Megatron, my man. How's things over at your end? I know you're feeling a little bit under the weather.
Yeah, but things are great, man. I'm ready to get talking about this Power of Tower we got, and let's have a good show. Talk some good stuff to talk about. My kids in the background. I'm sorry.
Definitely.
Let's say Tower of Power, Power of Tower, whatever.
I was going to say, are you listening to ponies in the background or something?
Dude, my daughter is wailing in the background and distracting the hell out of me. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I thought you were on Twitter looking at all the stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Tim Dog, I see you're pretty pumped up already. I see your image there of Phil holding the Tower of Power. Are you excited to talk about the big news, my man?
Yeah, really excited. What a week. Huge week. We got Jeremy, Mr. Xbox here. He's, doing backflips. So, when you have that going on, it's a good, things are going well for Xbox.
No doubt. Centurion, you ready to charge into the massive announcements?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Been looking forward to sit down with you guys all weekend and talk about all the big news and make some people get salty and probably cry.
All right. Hey, Southbound, ready to get the TXR party started?
What it do? Oh, man, this week has been incredible. Wow. Even Jeremy painted this closet green. Holy shit.
What a dick.
Or the bathroom. Look like you're sitting on the toilet.
Whatever you say, man. Whatever you say.
All right.
All right.
We can hear you.
What a jerk.
Let the flinging begin, guys. All right. So we got a pretty full topic docket on the list. So let's get into this. So let's definitely get started with the Game Awards. Now, originally, I wasn't planning on watching the Game Awards, or at least not much of it. Still, hey, you know what, guys? I was curious and I tuned in, and right off the bat, I gotta say that I'm happy that I did. Early on, we had a huge bombshell announcement and trailer from Xbox. They unveiled the next-gen Xbox console, the newly named Xbox, the Series X. The console is definitely striking at first glance. It's very reminiscent, I would say, of a small PC tower. And it has a huge vent at the top. Guys, I'm going to put this out here. What do you guys think of the announcement? How do you guys feel about it? Don't talk.
Nobody's excited.
All right, who wants to go first? Listen,
we're at a loss for words.
Hey, I'm going to go right here, and I'm going to say, wow, who would have thunk it at the Game Awards that Phil would just come out flexing? I mean, like Invader said, I wasn't planning on watching. I started watching a little bit, and then I got preoccupied, and I put my phone down because I wasn't watching it at home. And the next thing you know, my Twitter feed just starts blowing up, and I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? What did I miss? And then you see that. Now, I don't really like the look of it yet. It's gonna take a while for me to get used to it because it looks more like an Alexa, device than anything. But yeah, still, Phil came out, said it's gonna be the most powerful. Senua looks scary good. It's gonna be amazing.
I think first and foremost, I think the Game Awards are great for the industry in general, but because it showcases the games we love and it gives appreciation to those who, just like the Oscars and the Grammys do. But, say what you want about Jeff. The guy is very passionate about his show, and I think he does a fantastic job. But that being said, Tim would vouch for this, but I waited 5 long years for Xbox to come out swinging and making a huge impact the way they did. You guys seen the craziness on social media. That's right here. 70K impressions on Twitter. It was probably more than 70K, but that's the highest I've seen. 7 million views on YouTube. This doesn't even include all the sub channels. So then you show a powerful Hellblade trailer, which I was telling Tim, holy shit, it was running in engine. And at that time I was proud to be an Xbox owner. Talk to me tomorrow, but yeah, this week was good. But I was wrong about Xbox needing to acquire Red or another major player. But when you guys see what Phil has built and the mission that he's trying to accomplish, I think gamers are in for a real treat next year and the year after that. So right now it's good to be an Xbox owner, and the future's looking pretty bright.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It really shocked everybody as to, within a couple of announcements, everyone's like, wait, what's this? You see this trailer, right? You see Master Chief running. You see what looks like a racing game. There was a car driving there, a race car. Maybe it's a hint at the next Forza. You got soccer players running about in a stadium. And it's like, well, what is this? And then, of course, you see Master Chief. And then you slowly see this prism, and then it turns into a tower. And everyone's just like, wow, they're actually announcing it. Everybody's jaw was on the floor. Like, wow, like they're taking, like they totally caught everybody off guard, but in a good way, because everybody was genuinely excited. They didn't know it was coming. Right. I'm so happy that there was no leaks about this, at least from what I can remember. It was so exciting to see him like, damn, they actually did it. Like, kudos to Phil and the team for doing this. It brought so much limelight to the Xbox brand.
Right, and I think Xbox needed a platform like the Game Awards. Believe it or not, they draw a lot of people watching their stream, and you see what kind of impact it made on social media and just in general. I think it was a good move by Xbox to announce it there.
My main man Tim was staring the hell out of that pot, boy.
Oh yeah,
you damn right he was.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Spencer should have still came out and dropped the mic on the stage at the end of it all. He should just drop the mic right there. That totally set the tone for the Game Awards. I actually showed Downer that tweet from that big PlayStation fanboy, and he's over here basically trying to insult the thing. He's basically mad at PlayStation that basically everything Xbox showed, the console, Hellblade 2, even made Ghost of Tsushima look bad. He was completely mad at Jim Ryan. This has definitely made a lot of people definitely pay attention to Xbox all of a sudden. And this makes me wonder what PlayStation is going to be doing going forward, because, obviously Microsoft is approaching this game console more as a PC rig. They're not going to be treating it like, we're in the 1990s and we're going to be pulling a game console out of the box. They want to start blurring the lines between PC and console, because eventually these, it's going to get so high up there in graphic fidelity that it's going to rival PCs, because I was talking to Fuzzy Belvedere last night with PTK, and he's building rigs for his kids to play PC games, and he's actually looking about spending about $1,200 on one rig. And so even if this Series X happens to be $600, I hope it's at the 500 range, but even if it happens to be at 600, it's still going to be at half the price of a PC rig. And, I'm going to definitely say right now that this whole idea of, because the games are going to be cross-platform, that it's going to hold this new console back, that's completely untrue. Just look at Red Dead Redemption 2. To play Red Dead Redemption 2 on the PC, you need an asinine computer rig. Oh yeah, like a very expensive. Components that probably cost graphic cards that cost close to $1,000. And so that right there, you could still play Red Dead Redemption 2 on a more not as hopped up computer just by lowering down the settings. And that's what we're going to get from these games going forward, is when you put the game in or download it from the store, it's going to know what console you're playing on, and it's going to adjust the game based on that. It's going, like right now, when you have the Xbox One X and you put a game in, it downloads the Xbox X enhancements that aren't available on the S. And soon we're going to probably have Series X enhancements that aren't going to be available on the X. So I don't see how this is going to hold back anything. And everybody has been just trying to downplay this. Oh, it's too big. Well, I have things on my entertainment center that are bigger than that. And it's not going to confuse consumers at all, because I will not feed into this belief that consumers are sheep and that they're ignorant and they don't know what they're getting themselves into. Look at media today. When you go buy a movie on disc, you get choices: DVD, Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray. You go buy phones. Right. There's 4 or 5 different versions of the same damn phone.
And you have to remember, people selling it's going to tell you, hey, don't you want the newer version? Or, you know what I mean? Hey, we got a special deal on, Series X. So, there's always somebody, out there,
I don't
when
care
you go into like a Best Buy, GameStop.
I don't care if you're in middle school or you're, in your 60s. If you're going to go blow $500-$600 or more, you're going to do your homework, unless you're an absolute millionaire and you don't give a flying F.
Well, just look at even vacuum cleaners. The Dyson vacuum cleaners. There's about freaking 7 freaking models of vacuum cleaners. So listen, it's just people trying to really, try to find something when it's really not there. When they had this conversation came up when, if you remember, the Xbox One S came into the equation. People were like, "Oh, it's going to be confusing, Xbox and S."
Mr. Ryan McCaffrey there,
Yeah, he's still beating that bandwagon.
And then all of a sudden, the PlayStation comes out with a Slim and a Pro. Calm down.
But even so, the last
you're talking about a guy who still didn't upgrade to 4K for what? 8 months? Come on.
He just did it.
It was a long time.
He was waiting for somebody to give him a 4K. Yeah, he was waiting for free TV. You know that.
Yeah, but you look at the situation. The last time they won an MPD was when they had the S, and it just came into the market. So people aren't going to be confused. Like everyone said, the Xbox finally did something that we wanted them all to do. A lot.
The average consumer is going to be confused. I'm telling you right now. And I know for a fact, because I've seen it myself, the launch of the Xbox 360.
The launch of the 360, what?
Who tricks you into buying? Who tricks you, Jeremy, into buying a 360 over an X?
Well, you guys know this about 15 years ago.
There's some stupid customers, but the majority aren't going to have that problem, in my opinion. We're just in a generation where multiple devices, in the same line are just known. Just look at the iPhones.
Well, you guys know that. I mean, maybe it might be a different age, but back when the 360 launched, it was no secret. You guys know that I was a manager for GameStop, about 3 or 4 different locations throughout Southern California, and I was there for the Halo 2 launch, and I was also there for the Xbox 360 launch, where they launched the core system, and then they launched the Pro system, or the core system. I'm sorry, there was 2 versions of it, and the customer was always asking questions like, what's the difference between the systems? And we'd have to educate them based on what the specs were, or what the hard drive size were, what does it do, and what functionality does it have. And there was confusion based off that. Now, again, we live in a different age to where, like Tim was saying, with the iPhones and stuff like that. So maybe that line or that era is done already. But I think to the average guest, there might be still some confusion based off that.
Back in those days, the
I
internet
think
wasn't.
there's confusion, but it's also confusion that can easily be talked out and figured out, especially with the Google search. You know what I mean?
Back in those days, people didn't have.
They might just get rid of the. They might phase out the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X. They'll still support both the systems, of course, but they won't have them as an option. They might only have the Series X and the Series S as an availability. We don't know really what their plan is. We all thought it was going to be a certain way, and look at how it turned out now. You know what I mean? They threw us on our head. Everyone's surprised, and it just goes to show you, just by a flip of a switch, if they do the right thing, and they don't hurt themselves, and they do things the fans are asking for. The response is just goes to show you. You talked about your impressions. Everyone's talking about Xbox right now. It's kind of a good thing.
Mm-hmm. I'll admit, guys, I kind of like
they
the
lit a
look
fire.
of it.
That's for sure.
I kind of like the look of it personally. Like, I jokingly call it the Xbox monolith, just because it looks like something out of 2001: Space Odyssey. That movie.
The monolith changed the history of mankind, just like this is going to change the history of game consoles.
But it's very true, very true. But I know Shock has a pretty good point here.
Yeah, I did want to say about the design, like people trying to knock it. I'm like, if you want any of these consoles to have the power and performance that I think a lot of the hardcore are asking for, it's going to have to be built like a PC so it can actually cool it properly to keep up with that performance. And I think with the whole name thing, a lot of people have been talking about Wii U, why that didn't sell. Well, I mean, if you look at Nintendo consoles since the NES, they've been on a steep decline every single home console release from Nintendo until the Wii, which wasn't because of their traditional IP, just blew up and they were so much better that gen. They weren't really compared to GameCube. It wasn't that much better, if at all. But it was the Wii Sports. That's what drove it to 100 million, and then it went right back down on that trend to the Wii U, where there wasn't much to release. So it wasn't the Wii U. That part of it had some part of it to do with it, but I guarantee if they had some big heavy hitters like they had here, like Breath of the Wild, things like that, they would have sold and pushed a little bit more consoles out. So I don't think the name will be that much of an issue. Plus the marketing, I think Microsoft's going to make it really clear which one's which. Plus there's going to be a huge price difference between an Xbox One X, which will probably go down to with holiday deals $200 next November. And then this one's probably rumored, we're thinking $500-$600. I think the parents going to be okay, yeah, it's not that one.
Yeah, well,
dude, they're not making this for kids. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and they haven't talked about price just yet. They're probably waiting on that. They haven't really talked about a lot of the specs either, but I think there's an AMD conference happening in January, and I saw that Phil Spencer is supposed to be making some kind of announcement. So I don't know, that should be interesting. We should get some more details there. But yeah, I kind of like the look of it. At first, I was like, well, I don't know, but it looks pretty cool. I mean, do you guys see that huge vent at the top? And it kind of has like, I don't know if it's like a green illumination or something, but
It's a fan.
oh, the green part's the fan itself.
Yes, that's what I heard. It's the fan. It was I read it or I watched it on an interview or something. But
Hey
it's a
Tim,
fan.
did they confirm that it lights up the top?
No, I don't know if it lights up or not. I'm trying to find that out myself. But that housing or that green thing is actually a fan. Now I'm thinking that it has an LED on it because it's green. So we shall see.
My my RTX 2700 actually has a green LED fan on that actually keeps it cool. Like my whole computer glows green as a result of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I could actually see that. Now, does that mean that they're actually using an actual store-bought graphics chip that's going to be eventually available on the market for people to put in their PCs as well? Because we've all heard the rumors that there's things inside this console that are planned to be available for the PC market, but they won't be available at launch.
That's great.
That's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I just the console, the name, I don't know, I'm kind of digging it right now. The more that I've had a few days to think about and just kind of reflect, I'm kind of digging it. What do you guys think about the controller? We also got to look at that. It doesn't look too different from the current Xbox One controller, except with a few little tweaks. How are you guys liking it?
I find it interesting. They didn't show the back of the controller, meaning, we're not going to find out whether or not the controller is, it's self-charging, or you can just plug it in and charge, or put batteries in it. That's interesting. I did see that there's a slight design, to the controller itself. Obviously, with the trigger buttons, I don't know if they look more wide or the grip. Obviously the grips, but it's a little bit more asymmetric with. With the sides. Doesn't look so rigid like the Xbox One controller, the regular one. So I find that interesting. And obviously the share button, that was indistinguishable. So
yeah, it also looks like they took some notes from the Elite 2, if I'm not mistaken, on the D-pad a bit. It looks kind of different as well.
I'm surprised that I like how David kept it really hush hush on the share button not being on the Elite 2, and now all of a sudden it's appearing on the new controller. I wonder if that's a reason why they didn't put it on the Elite 2, because they wanted that to be something for the Series X.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and even the triggers, again, they look a little less curved this time around too. So, I mean, I'm glad that they're sticking with the design that they have for it already. But just some minor tweaks here and there. You don't mess with what's successful, right? Because the Xbox controller is the go-to controller in the industry, and everybody takes notes off of it. PlayStation did, and so on. So I'm glad that they're not messing with something that's working. But hey, you know what? They still got a heck of a lot to tell us about it. Obviously, that announcement for the Xbox Series X was massive. It was making waves all through the news. Now, they also did a trailer. There was a trailer showing off. Phil Spencer came up on stage and we talked about console, like we were just saying. And he stated something about first party and that they're hard at work, and shared an announcement for a game for the Xbox Series X. And that game was Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga. And the trailer, guys, it was visually striking. Simply put, the game just looks jaw-dropping from my initial reaction. What do you guys think about it? What was your initial impression? Everything was supposedly in-game. We don't know too much about it yet, but I'm happy to. I was surprised when I saw Ninja Theory's name pop up. And obviously, they have Bleeding Edge going on now, Hellblade 2. What do you guys think of the announcement?
The game looked amazing, and if that's what the next iteration of Xbox is going to do, I'll take two. Give me two of those consoles. It looks so good, and it scared the hell out of me too. Like I think among a few other people, that chanting, as South was saying, that she was doing, man, that really
That shit was scary.
It was freaking me out. We were talking about it earlier on the phone, but yeah, that looks good.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not a tech
Power
guy.
of Christ
but-
compels you. I was holding on to my fucking cross on my chest. I was like, no.
I still say the Hellblade 2 trailer was probably my most memorable moment of the VGAs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think-
Hey,
I
those
think
teeth,
definitely-
though, man, those teeth were beautiful.
Like, who's your dentist?
Right?
They
His
definitely,
number.
they definitely impressed. Go ahead, Tim.
When you have those video games, even with Red Dead Redemption 2, you always look in the mouth. And there's always it looks like there's like a, like you'll see white in it, or it'll be like flickering, and it doesn't look natural. That's the first time when I seen that. I noticed that with the gums and her teeth. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, that might not have been the most popular game that they could have shown, but visually speaking, it's the best thing that they could have shown on for a Series X, because it just.
I thought it looked real. I honestly thought it was a live trailer.
Yeah.
People thought it was real too. Like, honestly, if we showed that to people who aren't familiar with this, they'll say, "Yeah, that's an actor." That's
Makes
not,
me think how far along they are with Hellblade 2. And we're gonna get like a release right around.
I still
the
think
time
it's a couple years out.
You
Yeah,
think so?
they didn't have any release window for
They
it.
said early in development, so you figure 2 more years. So it'll be
Well-
a holiday 2021.
Now you can see now the lines between what's real in video games and what's not is slowly starting to become,
Scarily blurred.
Exactly. And I think the experiences are going to get better. That's why you see, like, at the video game awards, the entertainment, people create these games and it's just amazing. We're talking about movie quality production in these games. And I think we're at that stage now to where games are raking in a lot more money than the movie industry. And you see also with some of these studios, they're bigger than movie studios themselves. So I think the sky's the limit.
Did you notice, all the people that were in attendance? Like, there were some big names in there, like Elon Musk and, Vin Diesel and all that. Like, I was just really surprised that, Keely was able to pull from that, the celebrity, and all that. There was a lot of people, like famous people. Because, most people think, video game awards, who really can they attract? But surprisingly, a lot.
Yeah.
Well, actors are gamers too, They had Stephen Curry. I think the overall show, it propelled the show though, and it gave, for Xbox fans, we were in a state of euphoria the whole show. So it's like, they did what they wanted to do. It was a risk. It was gutsy, and to show Hellblade and I think everything just came together. I mean, people could argue, say you could have shown Halo, but in my opinion, Halo is probably better off for, E3, and this is perfect for like I said, reiterated, it's the perfect showcase of power for this type of Tower of Power.
Yeah.
If I may say something, everybody keeps talking about how this console reveal, Hellblade 2 reveal, is unlike Phil Spencer and Microsoft. I'm holding to the theory that Phil Spencer was around in Xbox during the time the Xbox One was revealed, but that was completely botched by Don Matrick and the powers that be that were in charge at that time. And so he hasn't been able to really do the Xbox One generation the way he wants to. He's just always been playing catch up and doing what they have to do to survive this generation. And I feel like now that the Series X is getting ready to come out, Phil Spencer's in charge, we're going to see an actual generation start with Phil Spencer in control. And I really think he's going to show the way he wants this generation to go. and it's going to be completely different from what people are used to, just because now he's going to be able to go a direction that he was not able to go in the beginning of the Xbox One generation.
I think there's some truth to that, but again, for 5 years I complained, that he held his cards close to his chest, and to me, finally he showed a few of his cards, and they were big cards in his hand, where it made an impact. And like I said, you've seen the reviews, you see the media talk about this at the Xbox Series X, and the way it just went crazy on social media. We're talking Twitter, YouTube. It's taken over, at least for a few days, at least for a week, where everyone was just talking about Xbox. And I think that's the impact that they need.
Absolutely. And it was so surprising. Not only did we see the console, we saw a new Hellblade. It won so many awards back a couple of years ago at the Game Awards, and not to mention many others. Definitely has a fan base, definitely well loved. I'm just so happy to see them. It's funny when you talk about, because Xbox for the past year or so, they've been announcing I guess you would call more colorful games, multiplayer games, and it's nice to see a single player. Everybody was asking for single player titles, and now, hey, we got it. We got it with Hellblade, one of the better known ones this gen. Yeah. So I'm glad to see them, kind of answer us there. But yeah, Hellblade 2, I'm excited. Like everybody was talking about, I was looking at the teeth. Senua's teeth there. I was like, wow, what, that's a nice set of pearls she has there. And
who's your dental hygienist?
I know, you would not expect some teeth like that in a situation like that.
No, but it looked
My
good.
Goodness.
Everything from the lighting to just the motions, and I'm very curious to see where they go with this, because I mean they showed not just Senua, but there's I'm not sure if she's leading an army or something. It looks cool. There's lots of things going on in my head as to what this could be.
I liked all the games you just mentioned, by the way, Invader, saying the colorful games and stuff they've had in the past. Microsoft is literally giving something for everybody. You want a mature single player experience, you're going to have the stuff coming out in Ninja Theory. You're going to, if you want a nice multiplayer game, they have Halo coming out. What also comes with single player, but you're going to have Halo coming out. You have Gears 5. You also have Grounded that'll be coming out. What's the one that Ninja Theory is also working on?
Bleeding Edge.
I mean, literally there is something for everybody to come over to the Xbox ecosystem and experience.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Now,
including baseball.
We will definitely get to that.
You got them jokes.
But yeah, there's a lot coming in. Actually, now Hellblade wasn't the only thing showing off, because Microsoft had a huge showing here with trailers. Did any of you guys catch the Ori and the Will of the Wisps trailer?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, not to be that guy though, did they change the date?
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
They pushed it back a month.
It went from February to March, right?
Right.
Yeah, Downer, led off to that one.
Well, no, I mean, to everyone that doesn't know, we had Thomas Mahler last weekend for an interview from Moon Studios talking about Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and definitely a very lively, interesting, fun talk if you haven't already checked it out. But Ori looks amazing. They're it just the things that they've done with it, from the movements to the story. I'm really excited to check out that game. It had a really good showing at the Game Awards. And not only that, guys, we had a game showing off that we haven't seen or talked about in a while. Gears Tactics. They had a pretty cool trailer showing off for that. Anybody looking forward to this title?
I was very surprised they revealed it. It looks great. It's a good entry for the Gears series. I think you're going to see some cameos in there, but I think it's going to flesh out the Gears world a little bit more, and I think it's really good that they're making that game.
Let me see if I can watch that Ori trailer because I don't know how I missed that, but I didn't see the Ori and the Blind Forest trailer.
Will of the Wisps.
Yeah, Will of the Wisps.
Oh, I'm sorry, Will of the Wisps. I'm sorry. That's what.
Wow, Megatron. Wow.
I saw that collector's edition though.
Hey, you know what? He works 100 hours a week. Come on, bro.
All right.
Yeah, but that Gears Tactics, I like those kind of strategic games, and it really did catch my interest.
I'm not much of a PC player, but I think that game is going to draw me in to actually sit down and play a game on PC from start to finish.
Well, it's an RTS, right?
On PC.
Oh yeah,
Right.
and I enjoyed Halo Wars too.
No,
but I
it's
played it on
coming to
console.
Xbox console.
The game's more like an XCOM, I guess you would say. But
Now, did they Invader? Did they say who was making that?
it's Splash Damage,
Okay.
Yeah.
the
I
guys who
need
did
to-
Brink. And I think they worked on some multiplayer too for Gears 4, if I'm not mistaken. But they definitely have some talent there, and it looks
no
cool. I mean, I'm just
microtransactions as
excited.
well.
Right.
Oh yeah, they were pretty
Yeah, but I
firm
mean,
on
how
that.
hard is it really to make an RTS? You know, it's not like they're very high visually, games. So
No, did you see it?
I mean,
It looks visually impressive, actually.
That, and they talked about the campaign, something about like 45 hours long or something. Like it has
Yeah.
a lot of meat to it. So definitely excited. That's something that I'm looking forward to. Pass. Well, they have other stuff where, and all these games are coming out in springtime. Again, Ori in March 11th. I believe Gears Tactics comes out in April, if I'm not mistaken, or is it May? Around that time frame. We also got Grounded, Minecraft Dungeons. There's definitely quite a few games come out in that time period, so that's pretty cool. We were worried about Xbox, not having too many first-party games being published, but now, guys, they're starting to churn out a few. Oh, also Bleeding Edge coming out in late March. A lot of different stuff going on here. I'm excited.
PSO's coming out in April.
Yeah, I just want to see more mature titles. All these kiddie games. Like. I can just go ahead and miss. I want some adult games for myself. I really don't care about these little furry things jumping around. You know what I mean?
South, what are you gonna be a downer for, dude? Jeez.
Oh, he said it, guys.
right?
He said it.
Did we switch positions?
That's what she said.
All right.
Oh, there we
She
go.
didn't know you were in the room. That's why.
Oh yeah.
Now, I have to mention this because Xbox wasn't the only one that showed off a next-gen title. PlayStation also unveiled a PlayStation 5 game, Godfall, a brand new co-op game from Gearbox, and it's stated for holiday 2020, just in time for, new console launch. Guys, did you happen to see the Godfall trailer?
I did. I was impressed by that. Yeah.
Trashed.
Oh my god.
Well, I did like it, but I didn't. I wasn't as impressed with it personally as I was with the Senua. Maybe it's because I couldn't see the facial expressions because they were wearing armor. I did like the color to it. I thought it looked like a neat title, but it just, I don't know. I wasn't as impressed with it, I guess you could say. But that's just me. Anybody else here happen to catch that trailer for Godfall?
Everyone was all hung up on the new X-Men, the announcement. I don't. Honestly, I said trash, but I didn't see the trailer at all. So, admittedly, I
It's a
didn't.
brawler. It's an online brawler. It's it's similar to Bleeding Edge as far as the game type.
It's more like it's like a looter. It's not shooting because there's swords or whatever.
Right.
But like Destiny with swords, yeah.
Right. So it looks pretty cool. Gearbox is making it. I think it's. Personally, I think that Sony's not going to have one of their big heavy hitters at launch. Obviously, those games are still coming, but I just think at their launch window, they figured let's go out with a bang with The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, which they could easily both have delayed them for launch. But they're going about it, I think, the right way. So even if they don't launch with something that really shows the system's capabilities, like say Halo Infinite, it's not the end of the world. I'm sure it'll be brought up by people, but It's still a nice title to have exclusive to
Yeah.
the platform.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, I mean, there was a few other trailers, a few other games announced, and it's the Game Awards. So obviously, there were all kinds of awards and award winners. So, guys, Game of the Year, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice.
Well deserved.
I was about to say, anybody
deserved.
agree with this?
Oh yeah, I'm a big Sekiro fan. Granted, I'm a Dark Souls fan too, but that game is absolutely amazing. Timmy, you have to play it, Timmy. You're not gonna pass it, but you gotta play it.
I got it. I honestly, judging by the reviews and everything, and just public perception, I think it was a worthy winner. I think if Death Stranding had won, I don't know what would have happened. I mean, personally, I wouldn't have complained, but I do think that might have been a problem if that game had won. So I was surprised that I think Sekiro was the right choice.
Yeah, definitely. It was nice to see that title winning. Definitely has an ardent fan base. Won over games like Death Stranding, Control, Resident Evil 2, Smash Bros. Ultimate, The Outer Worlds. So I could definitely see that happening. What else do we got here? Death Stranding won for the best music score. What else? Call of Duty won for
Wait, there's music in that game?
Apparently. Not just a walking simulator,
I'm
right?
just talking shit.
I don't even
You
think
talk
it's
shit
original
south
music.
since when?
Nah, never.
Control won for best art direction. This one I was actually really happy to see for best action game because I played this game. It's a blast. Devil May Cry 5. I was really happy to see that they won.
Yeah,
It's a great action game. Really good. Yep.
Great game.
Definitely. Yeah. No, really, I mean, it wasn't like no game really smashed it out of the park for awards. It was kind of like drawn like Sekiro and Death Stranding. So, it's kind of even. It was kind of nice to see that, it was no blowout in the awards. That was kind of cool.
Which one best multiplayer?
What was that?
Which one best multiplayer?
Best
right?
Let me just pull that up in front of me.
I was just making sure it wasn't Tetris.
Tetris.
I think it was Destiny.
That got nominated.
Apex Legends, actually.
Oh, Apex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Apex.
Which is interesting. Destiny actually won for, where is it? Best community support. Which I guess I could see that. They had some pretty well-received expansions and updates. That's pretty cool. So, guys, overall, what was your impression of the Game Awards? Did you really enjoy it?
I give it a 7.10. I think that, personally, I think that they have to. It was very good that they got the world premiere with Xbox. I think that was strong, but I think it's too long. I think it should be 2 hours and a half as opposed to 3.5. So I think that's where they could shorten it, and just a lot of commercials. I understand that that's part of the reason how they can fund it, but I just felt like the pacing was just a little bit too long-winded. But overall, I think they're going in the right direction, and it was big for them. I give them like a 7 to 8. Because they got the big scoop with Xbox. I think without that, the show would have been a lot worse.
I think Jeff Keighley wants that to be what the Game Awards are all about, are reveals and just embracing the success of the gaming industry. I was really worried that, excuse my French in this, but I was worried it was going to turn into a shit show, with Kojima basically doing a clean sweep and Jeff Keighley basically creating the biggest controversy you could ever have around an award ceremony, is that it's rigged. And it was really, really good to see. I mean, like, we were all holding our breath at that Game of the Year reveal. And when Sekiro took it, I was completely like, all right, yep, this was a great show. There's, I didn't really have any complaints at all.
All right.
Listen,
Yeah.
Keeley needs to go and Phil Spencer's feet. Because
yeah, definitely.
For that announcement and Hellblade 2 killer, people wouldn't be talking about the Game Awards. I'm sorry. I mean, they might be, a little, but the reveal of Series X and Hellblade 2 knocked it out of the park. Jeff called Phil and be like, thank you, man. I love you.
Yeah. All right. Now, go ahead.
Invader, me and Sal Game Awards, and I think we can both say that it's improved from year to year. It's a good show. It needs to get better on the entertainment side, but Jeff's very passionate again about what he does, and I think he does a good job making sure that the creators, the publishers, the creators, the artists, everybody that works on these games gets notice and it's well deserved.
Oh, I'm botting a bit, Jeremy.
Oh, sorry.
I love
Yeah,
the
I think the connection is bad all around on this, friend. I'm like,
I
like
just think it's my phone, but the Stadia commercials are kind of funny.
Oh my God, Stadia. Those things are a fantasy, just like the service.
Yeah,
is that completely? So I mean, the punchline.
They should have had that guy from A Way Out back. That was the best part a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. What did he say about the Oscars? I can't seem to remember.
Oh my God, he was dropping F-bombs in there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Jeff's face was priceless.
Before we move on, guys, I just like to give a shout out to the chat. Thanks for everyone for joining us. We got Kedrian Hardy, Jago Kukin. Hey, Jago, thanks for joining us, bro. BZ McNasty, Delilah HD. Hey there, Delilah. Who do we got here? We got Diego.
Delilah, Ozzy. What the? Diego.
Shizno Elite. Born Distracted. Lots of cool people in here. Dreadpool, thanks for joining us. Stick Figure, I saw you join us earlier. Great to have you here, bud. Z Black Rider, definitely a very lively chat tonight. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, joining us live. It's always cool to see everybody interacting with us. Now we're going to move on to the next topic. I think we're all Game Awards out at this point, but definitely a very cool show. It was nice to see all the excitement and positivity of Xbox. We cannot wait to hear more about the Xbox Series X, Hellblade 2, and so on. Now, moving along, and Xbox news, it just keeps on churning. And it looks like Xbox Game Studios is going to be expanding yet another one of their acquired studios. On their website, Undead Labs announced plans to open a new studio in New Orleans with a partnered game development academy for potential game developers. So that's pretty cool. And it seems like the plans after the acquisition were to make State of Decay a much bigger and more persistent online game. And that's according to Matt Booty going way back then. Undead Labs, known for State of Decay. And they definitely want to grow it. They want to grow the expansion. Now, guys, what do you think of Undead Labs expansion? Because it seems very encouraging from Xbox Game Studios.
So I'll go first. Well, go ahead.
You go.
So my issue with Undead Labs is, it's twofold. Number one is, what have they done exactly? As far as creating content and releasing these games, and what have they done? I mean, to me, they really haven't done anything. But you see the commitment on Xbox's side. Making sure that these guys have the tools necessary to grow and to dish out these games. But it remains to be seen whether or not these guys can handle, some of the AAA first party games that are coming out.
Yeah. I mean, early on, what was it? when Sea of Thieves launched and State of Decay 2 was around the corner. These games were unfortunately known for having some bugs, and the content just kind of wasn't there. I know State of Decay 2, unfortunately, it did have some unfortunate bugs. Thankfully, though, they worked on it, and they made it into a much better game right now. But I totally hear you, because State of Decay, the first one, it was a very much loved game on the Xbox 360, and I think people expected more. Expected more from Undead Labs. I'm not sure if they had the funding at the time to do what they wanted to do, but this is encouraging to see them expand even more studios, to see Undead Labs getting more support that way. I think they could do a tremendous job with a State of Decay 3, personally.
Yeah, I don't think they got the
I think that a lot of people, State of Decay 2 was almost like State of Decay 1.5, because there really wasn't that much of a leap difference in between the sequel first. So I want to do, the new technology, what they can do with, more power, more power. I don't know, it just seems like they're kind of handheld a little bit, that them off the reins a little bit, see what they can really flourish and produce. I don't know. I like I said, I just think that they're
Yeah, they were still. Yeah, they were still like an indie dev at that time, so I don't know how much of the budget they really got. But I know the guy that made them is he's one of the guys that founded Guild Wars, so they have at least a direction. Comes from a pretty good pedigree. But hopefully with their new, obviously they're getting some checks they're clearing now, so hopefully they have the resources to make their whatever their ambitions are.
Is it me, or do we have a shit connection tonight? I don't know. I think we just have a shit connection.
It does seem that way. I mean, mine seems fine. Shock sounds good. I don't know what's going on with you
Shock
guys.
sounds good.
I did a video on this, shameless plug, on the state of the internet infrastructure in the United States. But now with what's going on with Undead Labs, first off, the first game was completely under the radar. A lot of people didn't even know about this game. It actually came out on the Xbox 360 arcade. It never, to my knowledge, was ever released on disc until the Xbox One, where they gave you the edition where it came with like all the extras and the stuff, and it came out on disc. State of Decay 2 was them having a full-blown launch. Obviously, yes, it was like State of Decay 1.5. I played both games. I enjoyed them. There was some stuff that they built on from the first game. I enjoyed it. I actually did 2 playthroughs on it.
It's enjoyable from a system-based. It's a system-based game. So, you have system-based, level building, et cetera, but from a gameplay perspective, it's very basic. And yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, now it may be repetitive, but here's the funny part is that game played better. That game played more as a Walking Dead simulator than any Walking Dead game that had ever been released. And when it's the end of the world, it's almost repetitive. You every single day you get up, you got to go get supplies, this, that, and the other, and you have some events in between that kind of change it up a little bit. That's where they were trying to do something different with the multiplayer, and we all saw that completely was botched, especially with being peer-to-peer, the tethering and everything. Definitely it could have been hatched out better, but we could see how, everybody always says that Xbox abandons projects. This just goes to show that Xbox is really trying to embrace this and give it a fighting chance to try to become a franchise that is going to be console defining, because it's not, it's on the Microsoft ecosystem. It's not anywhere else. And it is an experience that is almost one of a kind in the fact that, it's like Grand Theft Auto in some ways, going out, getting supplies, taking cars, stuff like that. And I really feel that they can build it into something great given the right direction.
Would you agree it had still an indie feel to it?
Oh, definitely. It had an indie feel to it, But I happen to get the idea that, they got to start somewhere. And, we could see Microsoft is getting these, I don't want to call them cheap, but they're getting these talented developers that have a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Potential. They have a lot of potential to be something great. And, instead of Microsoft going out there and buying these full-blown AAA developers, they're going to have a huge price tag behind them. And then they got to go through the fear of, look at BioWare. EA bought BioWare, and that company is nowhere near what it was before EA bought them. Now, whether EA ran them into the ground or everybody just moved on, Microsoft wants to grow a company, not just acquire one and hope that they get the company that they bought.
Right.
Yeah. I want to read the book in 10 years about BioWare and see exactly what went wrong over there.
That'll be
an interesting book, article, movie, something.
Unfortunately, they don't have enough of those full stories. They just die. Unfortunately, they just die with whatever story there was. But as far as this is concerned, a couple of things of note. The location is in New Orleans, so if you haven't been paying attention, Xbox is looking to be kind of like Xbox Game Studios is looking to have a global, feel to it. Have these studios all around the world in different locations. So I think that's really cool. Another thing of mentioning is that they're saying they're opening a second studio. Now, is that a different game or is that the same game? That's up in the air. I think that they're definitely moving ahead with State of Decay. Still a popular game. It might not have done as well as Xbox has hoped, and as much as the fans would have hoped. I think one person mentioned, I think we were expecting a little bit more. I think that that's very true. But one thing of note is that I put up a poll and I talked about
Timmy, can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like you said, you don't know it produced as much as they hope. You can use on how much day comes out. If they're really happy with it, still at it, rock up and praise it. If it comes out and it's a dud with 2 months, they just pretty much move on.
Yeah, I think he was saying that I lost some of his question, but yeah, I think that they're putting into this. But one of the big things that, like I said, I put a poll up, and the question was which studio will have the most impact, and I didn't list them. And Jez Corden of Windows Central, you know who Jez is. Everyone knows, awesome guy. He said Undead Labs, and mark my words or screenshot this. There's big plans. They're taking these studios, even I've heard in Exile. They're taking these studios and they're expanding every one of them, and they're not only they're expanding them, they're broadening their potential, and it's a great thing. It's I've been following the studios for a long time, and there was a time where people were just like, yeah, we gotta see the games, this is BS, this it's gonna be kiddie stuff. But no, I think that they're all creative led. Xbox is being a facilitator. They're pumping a ton of money into this stuff. Game Pass is so big, getting bigger, that they know this. So when we see projects like Bleeding Edge and Grounded, the thing is not to say, oh, look what they're doing this. No, the thing is to say, look, they're actually funding these, and they're also funding another game, and they're also saying that other game's going to be AAA, and who knows what else. So they're looking to push these studios to the up-team tent as much as they can, and make them as big as they can, and the scope of the games as big as they can with how many people that they have. Obviously, They'll grow the number, but this is really good stuff, and I think people are really starting to notice now that they're business, and it all points at, people can say why, it all points to Game Pass. Game Pass is just it's juggernaut, and it just keeps growing, and there can become a time where Game Pass is almost as valuable as Xbox itself. That's how big it's getting.
Yep.
So you just look at it from the business sense, and you can understand why. They understand content.
And there you go, Downer. There's your killer app.
Yeah.
They're trying. I was just gonna finish off with saying they're also trying to grow the developers themselves. I'm talking the individuals at their job. Let's just face it. The top guys in our industry right now aren't gonna be there forever. They're gonna move on to other things, eventually retire, and all that other stuff that just happens in life. And they're wanting to grow the next Vince Impala. They're wanting to have the next Kojima. They're wanting to create
Impala?
Or what the guy. I know I'm having.
Zampella.
The one guy at Respawn that's running the whole thing that saved the Star Wars franchise. That guy.
Yeah, you said his name.
His name is Vince.
Vince. Oh, whatever, man. You're gonna
Vince
get on me.
yeah.
You're gonna get on me about my connection.
Fuck with you.
You're gonna get over here and get on me about my connection. Oh my gosh. I'm waiting for Sony to break into your house and bag you and drag you off.
Centurion, I'm still waiting for you to get these names right, buddy.
I know. I'm just blowing names all
Just
night
say
tonight.
Frank Zappa. It's okay.
At any rate, you got what I was talking about, man.
Yeah, no, but just to leech on to that, though, they are really expanding all their studios. In Exile, I think, also has a new studio in Louisiana and New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. So they're definitely they're starting to create some hubs here from the looks of it, just from how I'm looking at. Definitely in Southern California, they got a few studios now from what it looks like in New Orleans. It's very, very interesting how they're going about this, but very healthy too. Because if I'm not mistaken, with State of Decay 2, they only had about 50, 60 people working on the game at Undead Labs. Now, I'll be curious to see if they'll be doubling the first studio, and obviously they're creating the second studio. That's a lot of manpower involved here. They're really growing these suckers. I gotta say, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what they're doing. It's I never.
Yeah,
thought
it really
they'd be
seems
doing
like they're nurturing
wanting,
and watering the flowers of these new developers.
Like some people say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So it's very interesting with Undead
Starting
Labs.
off next gen way better this time. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Prepared.
And then you don't hear the complaints that you heard before about Xbox just ruling with an iron fist and just demanding crazy demands. You hear more like, hey, we're doing what we want to do, and they're just loving it, and they're letting us be free. And even though they're not independent no more, they still feel like they're independent and doing what they want. And that's the beautiful thing about it.
Well, they prematurely thought they were in a position of power, which they were in this gaming industry, which there was still the spring chicken and everybody that creates games between Nintendo and Sega and just in general everybody that was creating content at the time. But now I think they've ironed out all the wrongs that they've written, and they're making things right.
Well, humble pie is a bitter piece to swallow. You know what I mean? So they really had to go back to the drawing board. And anybody that listens to Phil talk, he's like, man, I'm still learning, and I have to go and check and look at myself in the mirror and say, hey, what can I do better? What can I what have I done wrong? And talk to his people and get their feedback. He's always saying, hey, I may be the head of Xbox, but I'm not the only person. It takes a village to create Xbox and maintain it and do everything.
I think more importantly, he listens to the fans. So
well, he's definitely a lot more interactive.
Did Jeremy just say that?
yeah, he's not being a downer for a change. So I guess this really changed him.
I will say I have been impressed by how Microsoft is with the community. You get people like, even when Mike Ibarra was there, you had Mike Ibarra, Phil Spencer, and a number of Xbox executives that would come out, play games with people, socialize. We had David Preen on here, and what was the other gentleman's name? I don't want to botch another name. Help me out here.
Carl Ledbetter.
Yeah. And, that's really awesome. Like, I barely hear anybody from any of the other companies coming out and basically coming out and interacting with the community as much as Microsoft is. It's like they understand that they have a fan base that wants to get to know them.
Yeah, but they also see the value in it. We're sitting here talking about Xbox, and there's people that listen to it, and then they'll tell other people, or they have their own podcast. And I think it's developed into I don't want to say virus, but but it's a good thing. It's basically, it's spreading. It's a good thing to where the cultures, even though there's toxic people in it, like myself.
Yeah, we know.
But but I think overall it's in a good place.
Well, you know what? Word of mouth is. I mean, that's where it all springs from, because good or bad, people telling each other, hey, this, that, and the other, and people, it's like the game of telephone. People, they spread it, like you said, the virus or whatever, however you want to say it. No matter what you say and your feelings on it, like us on this podcast, you don't even know how many people, our words touch and spreads from there. Another podcast, and like it starts from the top, like Xbox. The guys that work there, like Century was saying, what other company does that? None. And
South, you would agree with me on this, is the culture changed when Phil took over.
Oh, yeah.
And we were there for the first Fan Fest in Los Angeles, and it immediately changed overnight, and it got better as it went along, and they still do those things across the world. Now it's across the world. And I think moving forward, that's going to be their approach.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember the first interaction I ever had with Phil, when he first got the job, and it was his, first E3 as, head of Xbox. And, he was getting mauled by all the fans and everything. And, I was like, I was like trying to be too cool. And I just kind of slid up to him and I was like, hey, bro, you're the people's champ. And he looked at me kind of funny, and I just walked away. And I don't know why he maybe thought like, damn, this guy just like didn't even give a shit. But like, he was cool like that. I didn't feel like he was, somebody like, oh my God, there's Phil Spencer. You know what I mean? He was just like a regular dude. Just happened to be at that.
At that time, he was still an unknown. We didn't know what.
No, he really wasn't. Remember, he was head of Xbox Studios. Remember?
He was, but nobody really knew of him. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't a.
Well, I guess he wasn't. You're not considering us like hardcore.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
People knew. I mean, everybody wanted him to take over.
But he wasn't a public figure like he is now. Not even close. And
that was my. Now he's like almost like God. He was God stature.
He was behind like Mark Witta, so it was even like second in line.
Now to point out, let's look at it like this: at the VGAs, the original, like the guy who was in charge of Nintendo before this Bowser individual was in charge, everybody recognized him. But like, let's look at it now. Can you name if a Nintendo executive or a PlayStation executive came out on stage at the Video Game Awards? They would have to be announced for people to know who they are. Phil Spencer walked out on stage and people knew automatically who that person was.
Yeah, and Nintendo, they've shuffled the guard a little bit. Reggie's not there anymore. Miyamoto's like in the shadows. It's just one of those things where this industry changes, obviously, like our family members kind of. But yeah, I mean, it changes overnight. It really does.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the good thing is we have the steady hand in Phil, who's learning from the mistakes, and like the whole thing is changing. I like I said, I would have never thought that he would have, shown the next Xbox at the VGAs. Like you normally, save that for E3 or, their little reveal in, February, March, whenever the hell they do it. But to show it at the VGAs, that took guts, but it was perfect. It was perfect.
But I think now he can just. Yeah. Sorry, Shock.
Oh, no, I was going to say what makes me feel really good about that is if they showed that off now, then they must be pretty confident for this coming E3 with like probably the games or software they're going to show off.
Well, if I can add on to that just real quick, I'm wanting to say one of the reasons why they probably showed that off is because we all see how for some reason developers have just gone willy-nilly out of their damn mind, putting pictures of the PS5 dev kit all over the internet. It just seems like an NDA no longer matters to anybody. It's just like, oh, we'll just post this all over Twitter because good luck on trying to find the guy who did it. And I think Xbox wanted to jump out in front of that, and they wanted people to be prepared for what this console is going to look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the dev kits don't reflect the actual.
They don't reflect it, but I'm gonna say right now, it in a way almost does, because look at the PS5 dev kit. The vents on that thing, regardless if it's still in the same shape or not or whatever, they could put that thing in a bright pink plastic box. All I'm getting at is just by looking at the amount of venting alone on that dev kit just lets you know the amount of heat that is involved in the equipment that's inside that. And yeah. I think Xbox is handling it in a much better way. They're making it look more pleasant on the eyes than something that looks like a radiator.
Yeah, I would agree. There's some truth to that.
Mm-hmm. Guys, I'm gonna move this along.
Well, remember the Xbox. Remember the Xbox, their dev kits, the Xbox One, how they messed like the checkers and stuff like that, but they were still looked just like the production kits. So you never know what the dev kits look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Now I'm going to move this along, guys, to the next topic. And there was a big announcement a few days ago as well. Again, a lot of news coming out this past week. And it looks like a major exclusive for Sony that has been with Sony since about the first PlayStation, going back to I believe 1997, if I'm not mistaken. MLB The Show, the baseball game, is going to be going multi-platform to both the Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. And it was making the rounds like crazy. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? Because that's a pretty big exclusive going multi-platform.
It probably won't go to the Xbox One, but it'll definitely go to the Series X.
Yeah.
You go first.
In 2019, MLB The Show, it showed serious growth, for a sports simulation title. Now I don't know for sure, but the franchise, I believe, has sold over a couple million copies to date. Sony has already signed a multi-year deal through 2021, I believe, but now it's just speculation since there's been no formal details coming through, but Sony could still hold the distribution rights. I'm not sure under the Sony banner or the multi-year deal that they signed. We'll see these games coming out probably to 2021, I'm guessing. But you see on social media these Sony fanboys just losing their shit over a baseball game. Like, really, guys?
That they don't even play. They don't even fucking play it.
Can you imagine what will happen when some of their first party games like Horizon Zero Dawn make their way to PC, which it probably is. To be fair, we react the same way when Xbox game gets announced, when it goes multi-plat. You guys remember the shitstorm that we dealt with on? Oh yeah. So,
console exclusive or Xbox exclusive? Oh man, yeah. The wording, everybody's so confused. But no, like you're saying, I think MLB is the driving force behind this, because they looked at the like, for instance, the Madden. Hey, if Madden can, be made by one developer and be on multi-platinum, multi, platforms, why can't we, as Major League Baseball? And Sony, no, we make this. This is our gem. No, why are we gonna, put it on other, platforms? Okay, well then we'll just take the license away and we'll give it to EA and let them make it multi-platform. Oh hell no! So and then think about it.
Well,
you're gonna make money twofold. You're gonna sell it to the other platforms plus your own, and then the microtransaction to go along with that. So you're just gonna make money hand over fist, because from the rumors are that Sony barely breaks even when they make the MLB games.
Well, again, guys, it's practically confirmed.
It all makes sense.
Centurion had something to say.
Now, first, before I give out at least does anybody remember the podcaster that kind of like used the kid that was involved in the adaptive controller commercial, and he used it as a very bad joke and he got called out for it? I remember Boomstick getting into an argument with him.
I remember
David Jaffe. That was the guy. Okay, so he came out and he also, at least this is where the
he's not a podcaster, David Jaffe.
Okay, fine, a loudmouth, whatever. At least it looked like
he's the creator of God of War, right?
Yes, I do remember. Yeah, he's the creator of God of War. That I didn't want to put that out there because I wasn't sure until you just obviously made that fact for me. But so at any rate, he came out and said that MLB had gotten contact with the Major League Baseball, had gotten contact with Sony. And if we look at every sports franchise out there, FIFA, Madden, hell, even wrestling games, they're making all this money as a multi-platform game, multi-console game. And obviously MLB has been held back by the fact that they're exclusively on PlayStation and have been for 20 plus years. And now MLB came out and according to him, that they basically gave PlayStation an ultimatum. They either start going multi-plat with this game, or they're going to pull the contract from them and give it to EA. And we all know EA are the guys that take every sports franchise and make it multi-plat. So it was going to go multi-plat, whether people wanted it to, whether Sony wanted it to, didn't want it to. It was going to go multi-plat no matter what. Obviously, though, Sony, the most profitable department in Sony right now is PlayStation. And that game, regardless of its popularity, it has microtransactions in it. And that is a source of income for PlayStation and Sony. And so therefore, just to completely throw that away, to stick to your guns of like, no, we're the keepers of the sacred garden of exclusivity. They were like, no, we'll just do what we got to do because we want to keep that money rolling in. And the plus side is from it going multi-plat, that's going to be even more money rolling in because now you're going to be getting revenue from newer sources. So I don't see why.
Isn't that what I just said?
Not only that is Sony's going to slap their name on it. They already have the multi-year deal through the 2021. So they might have the distributing rights. I'm not sure.
Oh, dude, I'm pretty sure Sony got cranky
when the
Microsoft
weird?
Studios logo was on Outer Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have been inquiring, oh, hey, is this a confirmed thing or not? Well, I mean, MLB said it was coming to additional consoles. So, I mean, there's only so many additional consoles it can go to, right?
Well, and Phil retweeted it.
And Larry
so did
Herb,
Nintendo. Yeah.
Major Nelson here, additional consoles.
We still don't know the details behind it. Is it signed through Sony through 2021, or are they going to have the distribution rights, meaning Sony's going to slap their name on it? We don't know until the details come out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, considering it's made by Sony Studio,
I think
right?
it's so. Yeah, and I think it's a little bit too late because 2020 is coming out in a few months. It's too late to port it to Xbox or Nintendo now, so that's why they keep saying 2021, so they have a whole year to port it and build it the engine.
So the thing about sports titles is if you look at titles like Madden doesn't grow its audience. You have a core group of people that just they buy Madden and they play Madden 24/7, and that's all they do. And Phil and Tim can attest to this. So Madden sells X amount of copies. I forgot how much it is, like 14 million copies. How many copies does Madden sell again? Anybody know?
Truckloads.
Look it up. Hold on, I'll look it up.
Yeah, but anyway, they're not growing
Seems
their
to
audience.
me it's not that many.
And the same goes for the show. So, on PlayStation. Yeah, granted, there's people that go and they buy a PlayStation just so they can play the exclusive baseball game that Sony had. But, that's why they want to branch out, and make more money off it. You get all these marketing deals and sponsorships and stuff like that with these sports titles. So we'll see.
It's interesting because the press release says the historic expansion of the long-standing partnerships will bring MLB The Show for the first time ever to additional console platforms beyond PlayStation platforms as early as 2021. So it's interesting. Not this year, but
now does that mean well, I don't know how they do their numbers like Madden. It'll be like, it's interesting. Not this. The year, like whatever year you're in, it's always the year after. So I didn't know if they meant by like next year's version. But I'm thinking of Madden years and not like.
Yeah, I think it's late in the game for this year.
Yeah, it seems to be that way. But still, I mean that's that's pretty big for it to go multiplat. Again, I wonder who is pulling the strings behind the scenes there. I mean that's good though. I mean. Obviously, Sony has to play ball there. That's very interesting. No pun intended there. But guys,
I think they had to. They had no choice.
Absolutely. And again, it's interesting because there have been fans behind the scenes talking to Phil and other Xbox higher ups about MLB. About not so much MLB The Show, but having sports games featured. Right? Bringing a baseball game or something. People have been kind of craving that. So they're answering you right there again. It's kind of nice.
Yep.
But anyways, guys, we're going to move on. Probably the last topic. We'll get into this. Halo Reach is finally available for the Master Chief Collection, and it's pulling in some very impressive numbers for a game that's almost, 10 years old? Yeah, and during its first week, it had, I can't believe this, about 3 million players across PC and Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. And it's also the highest ranking debut for an Xbox Game Studios game on Steam, previously held by Gears 5, which released a couple of months back. So very, very impressive stuff. So it looks like PC players really want to play some Halo. Are you guys impressed by the draw of Halo Reach that's getting across the board?
I'm not impressed. The Master Chief Collection is an amazing product. I think it's underappreciated just how much content you get for the just inside that one game, or games I should say. It has by far the best multiplayer experience you could find on any system, bar none. It crossed what does it have, 120 multiplayer maps, 67 campaigns or something like that, missions. I mean, why aren't more people playing this game? Because it's a lot of game for your dollars. You get 1, 2, 3 Halo Reach. You get the ODST.
Well, remember when it first came out, it was broken, and they've worked on it since day one. And how long has it's been out? 4 years now, and they've worked on it every single day, and continue to. So I mean, you got to give hats off to that.
So a lot of right when engines,
right when I found out it was going to be a topic of the show, I went back to play it, and again, the multiplayer experience is amazing. There's nothing like it. You have the iconic Halo maps, you have the gameplay, and it's, to me, if that's the only game you played, you have a lot of game. Like I said, you have all those the Halo games and the multiplayer. So,
now to interject here, I'm not sure if the PC players on Steam, I don't think they have all the games in the collection. I actually think they're rolling out the game separately. I think Reach is the launch game for the Steam version, if I'm not correct.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right.
Mm-hmm. But still, I mean, it's pulling in it's doing pretty well regardless. I mean, it was top on Steam for
And
purchases
it's on
for a
Game
while.
Pass on
Sold 2
PC,
million.
and it still did that.
Yeah.
Sold 2 million on Steam, just Steam alone.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, that's what I mean, man. Like, I mean, for the collection, yeah, that's great. But I mean, for Reach to get this kind of
Reach?
attention to kind of reach, yeah. It shows you the power of Halo. Like Halo still has a name.
It'll be interesting to do it or to see how the I'm trying to losing word there. How they're going to roll it out? They're going to roll out a Halo probably every few months, I'm thinking. So
I think they're going
to see how each one does it leading up to Infinite. I think they're going to build up.
I think they said every month it was coming out. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Every month the game's going to come out. So once this is going to be a multiplayer powerhouse, people are going to be playing this game all leading up to Halo 6. So I think they made a good move bringing it to PC. And like I said, it's crossing over 6 games, 120 iconic multiplayer maps, and 67 campaign missions. We're going to get that kind of game for $60 or whatever, how much it's going to cost.
It just goes to show how popular the Halo franchise is still to this day. It set the bar when it comes to first-person shooters when it originally came out. And, everybody always makes that joke, oh, Xbox is Gears 4 is a Halo, Gears 4 is a Halo. Well, obviously, people are still craving that Halo experience, and that experience is still not pretty much available on other platforms because somehow, some way the cards hit just right that the Halo Master Chief whole franchise in itself just kind of fired on all cylinders and was able to captivate people, and it still does to this day.
And if you look at it, if you turn it on now, the end product is very polished.
Oh, dude, the Master Chief collection, I've been playing the remasters, especially like Halo 1 and Halo 2, where they completely went in and redid them. I mean, there's some witchcraft there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But you look at now between where they were when the initial launch, between now and then, it's night and day. I mean, it's such a polished product, and the servers are working, and there's a lot of people playing, and there's just a lot of value in that game. So I suggest you guys download that game again, whatever you got to do, and let's go. Let's go battle.
You know what? We got to get a TXR game night going on for that sometime.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that has been on my console since day one.
Got to do it. But to me, what this says is obviously PC gamers have wanted this for the longest time. It's very smart that they're releasing on Steam. PC gamers do not mess with the Windows storefronts. Still to this day, there's still issues. But one of the things I think this says is that when Halo Master Chief Collection came out, it had all of its problems, and it kind of dampened that launch because everyone was excited about it. And then the next year you had Halo 5, which was probably one of the worst in the series if you go by campaign, and people were a little bit getting, you get a little bit, burnt out. You had Halo 4 in 2012. So the Halo franchise was getting a little bit, as they say, long in the tooth. But with video games, if you go away for a certain game for a certain amount of time, and this is going to be now 5 years when Halo Infinite drops, people do come around. And I think that right now that Halo Infinite is in a prime position to really do very well at the launch of Scarlet and the new next generation systems. It's just a matter of them. They have to get this right. They have over 700 people working on this with contractors since I would say last year, or it was starting this year. At the start of the year, I remember hearing the number was 700 with contractors.
That's insane.
You got a really big production here. You can't mess it up though, and they have a slam dunk ready. You know, it's everything is set up for them. If they really put out a good game, Halo's going to be really back up there, and it's gonna show its worth.
And going back to the Halo 2 launch, I remember that launch, and it was the highest grossing entertainment gross in history. And I believe they did like $186 million in a single day. And that was what Halo did, breaking all kinds of records. So hopefully they get a chance to do that again with the launch of Halo 6 or Halo Infinite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they've been Halo for whatever reason. It has that name, that brand recognition, and people are really drawn to it even to this day. I remember the launch for Halo 3 like it was yesterday. Like everybody, it was midnight launch. Everybody was excited. Yeah. TV crews were out. I remember being filmed outside a Future Shop.
Dude, the GameStop I was at, they had the police out there to maintain order at that Halo 3 launch.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was like a phenomenon back then. Like everybody was talking about it. I remember the multiplayer rooms were filled, the lobbies, all the trash talking. It was monumental back then. Oh, I have so many good memories from Halo 3. Even Reach was pretty awesome too.
Halo was a part of pop culture, and it's not like that anymore. I think ever since Bungie, obviously, went to Activision and stuff like that. But hopefully, 343 finally gets things together where, something that we could appreciate, and they do a good job with it. I think they're, we'll see.
I will argue up and down all day with whoever wants to debate it very professionally that Halo 3 put gaming on the map. Like you were saying, news was out there, and I mean, like, the world had never seen an event like that where people were literally lined up outside game stores as if this was like the next Star Wars movie that was getting ready to be released in theaters. I mean, it had never been seen before. And at that time, releasing a game at midnight was something that
you meant
heard of.
Now you meant Halo 2, right? Not Halo 3.
Well, for me, sadly, I was a lot younger during Halo 2, and my dad. Now, here's the thing: if you know anything about Arizona, where I grew up was literally a half hour. I mean, it was an hour drive to the store that would do these launches. So I wasn't able to be there for Halo 2, and therefore it kind of like one of those things where, like, I don't even know if the news was involved in Halo 2. I didn't hear much about it. All I knew is that I had to get Halo 2. I had to get my hands on it. I remember the popularity of it, and I eventually got an Xbox with Halo 2. I traded some things with my friend to actually get his Xbox because he could just get another one. He was that kind of person. But with Halo 3, I remember I was like, I need to be there for the launch for Halo 3. And I drove myself up there, stood in line. And I mean, it was insane. Even the cops that were maintaining order, because we were chatting with them while we were in line, were just like, they were like, this is unreal. We have never seen something like this around a video game.
Well, after that, it was GTA San Andreas. That was crazy. That was a crazy launch. I remember that one too.
Oh, dude, yeah, I remember like Grand Theft Auto. Like it was. That's why I'm saying, like, people had never really thought that game releases would rival, like movie releases.
Yeah, the movies,
and other stuff like that. Like at that time, people would stand in line to see a movie, not stand in line to play a video game. And now all of a sudden, it's like it's an everyday experience. You go to E3, people will wait in line 3-4 hours just to get a game for 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, those days are gone now with the digital era. No more waiting in line till midnight. It's waiting to your game to unlock until 9 o'clock or midnight or 11 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah. Or screw up your Xbox by resetting the region.
Oh no.
So true though. I think the last launch I went to, last midnight launch, was actually for the Xbox One. So very, very telling. Yep. All right, guys. I think that we'll be calling it a night. Definitely, we covered a heck of a lot of topics. And you know what? I'm already looking forward to next week because there's still so much to cover in the gaming news to talk about that we haven't covered yet. As always, a massive thank you to everyone that listens in and rocks out with us every Sunday night. Of course, we got Patman Jones who dropped in, Michael Monkey Punch, Z Black Rider still rocking out with us, Jago. We got iMill, great show. Oh, thank you, buddy. We really appreciate that. Dreadpool again. Again, lots of people here. Thank you very much for joining in. And again, I highly suggest checking out last week's show, our interview with Ori and the Will of the Wisps game director, Thomas Mahler. Lots of interesting little tidbits there and a very fun show, to say the least. Anyways, on to the outros. Centurion, my man, awesome talk tonight. Where can everybody follow you?
Oh, you can always find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Xbox Live at Centurion1307. Feel free to always give me a sub, follow, hit me up on Xbox. I'm a very friendly guy. I'm also on here with you guys every Sunday on the TXR Podcast. I also join Saltiest Gaming on Thursdays on Saltiest Gaming Podcast. And oh wow, brain fart. And on Saturdays with PTK Blam and the rest of the crew on the Shop Podcast.
All right, good stuff. Shock, my man, good thoughts tonight. Where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Shock Nero. Easy Shock on Xbox Live. But yeah, thanks for stopping by.
All right, good stuff. Jeremy, again, welcome back to Xbox. Loving the room there. Where can everybody find you?
You find me on Twitter at Lone Master Who, and that's it.
Nice. Tim, again, great talk tonight. Happy to see your excitement. Unfortunately, I know that you were dropping in and out because of the connection. Yeah. Where can everybody follow the Xbox?
You can find me over at Twitter at xCloud TimDog. That's also my Xbox Live name. Hit me up. Thanks for everyone that stuck in through the whole show. You guys are the best. Thanks for the panel for keeping it up. Just looks like, I guess if you're on the phone, it's tough with sometimes with this. So, but I had no choice tonight. But just wanted to thank everyone and thank the fans. And I saw the comment of Dianaro. Yes, I remember that you were an OG member. And everyone else, thanks a lot.
Definitely. Good words there. Yeah, he's been there since the very beginning. I remember some of the earlier shows, watching as a fan and definitely keeping this show trucking. What else we got here? Obviously, Southbound had some connection issues, but he had a really wonderful show. Megatron wasn't feeling very well. He had to tune off early on, but it's obviously great having Megatron on. And of course, I'm Invader. You guys can find me on my YouTube channel, Invader Gaming, and on Twitter at Invader_1986. Again, guys, it's been a blast, and we'll catch you next week. Peace out, fellas. Have a good night.